Hey everybody, MrFlavorsmith here, and today we're going to do something that I really enjoy doing. Spinning chicken. I love to do rotisserie chicken, and I have something very fun. We're going to do an El Pollo Loco version of the spinning chicken. I haven't tried this marinade before, but I whipped it up last night. I'm going to run you through everything I did with that last night, so let's check that out right now. All right, so as you can see, that marinade has a lot of flavor to it. There's a lot of different ingredients that went in there. It's a really nice citrus marinade, and I actually have had that sitting, marinating the chicken in the refrigerator for over 24 hours. So I just pulled it out of the refrigerator about 20 minutes ago, trying to get it to room temperature before we get it on the rotisserie. So I expect this rotisserie chicken to take about an hour and 45 minutes, maybe 2 hours. It could go a little bit faster than that. What I'm looking for really is not so much the time, but the internal temperature. So we'll check it at about an hour, and then we'll check it at about an hour 15 and maybe about an hour 30 and see where we're at. And I'm looking for an internal temperature of around 169 degrees Fahrenheit. If it gets a little hotter than that and we get somewhere around that 175-ish, I'm okay with that too, because I really, and my entire family, likes poultry a little more done. And it's just not going to hurt it. It's going to get a little more char on the outside and make everything really flavoricious. On top of that awesome El Pollo Loco marinade that we did, I'm also flavor stacking it with a citrus injection. So I did some freshly squeezed lime and some freshly squeezed navel oranges. I put them through a filter. That way I can get all the little particles out of there. We're going to stick it into an injector, and we're going to inject this whole entire chicken all throughout the carcass. And today what we're going to be using for the heat source is B&B Charcoal. I like using B&B Charcoal for a lot of things, especially a snake method when it comes to low and slow, and you want consistent temperatures. B&B really holds its temperature well. Well, on this one, we're going to use Weber baskets, they're coal baskets, and we're going to use one on either side of the chicken. And the reason why we're using B&B is because it's really consistent on its temperature. It holds its heat for a long time. It does the job really, really good. And I'm hoping that I can get through this entire cook without having to do another chimney full of coal. So let's get to all that right now. All right, so we just talked about the charcoal. We're going to be using this awesome B&B, which you can get that at any one of your Ace hardware stores. I go pick it up at my local Wildemar Ace Hardware. They always have it in stock, and it's a great charcoal. On top of that, we're also going to use chunks of cherry wood. I really like using this Western Premium Barbecue products. I use hickory all the time. I use mesquite. The cherry wood is a fun one to use too, so I figure why not? Let's give it a shot. All right, first things first, let's take the lid off. We're going to keep the grill right there, just in case something falls down. And then we're going to put the rotisserie just like this. So the bracket is on the back side there. What's cool about this rotisserie, this is an only fire multi-purpose rotisserie, so it turns it into a pizza oven as well as a rotisserie. But what's kind of unique about this is when you're not using it as a rotisserie, you can plug up these holes that actually hold the skewer. And I use this quite often for smoking meats as well. It just, it gets everything a little bit further away from the heat source and allows me to get a little lower and slower temperature. But what's really cool is we just loosen up this wing nut, flip that aside, all right, just like that. And we do the same thing on the other side, just like this. There we go. And then we can stick that skewer in there. Now we're gonna take the motor and it just slides right on this bracket in the back there, just like that. And we've got that plugged into our power source, and then our skewer goes inside, plugs right into that, and then we just adjust this little ring right here to the exact placement we want. And then there's a little, like a flat wing nut, and you tighten that down. And then now once it starts, we just turn on our motor, and it's just one speed. It just spins really slow. So a lot of people like to go to spin class for workout. I like to spin chicken. All right, but let's just do this. We're gonna put this right there. Got a major step. Look at that. We need to put our coal baskets in there. And these are the Weber coal baskets. They came with my Master-Touch, and we put them just like this, one on either side, all the way up against the wall. A full chimney will go in there on each side, so it takes a full chimney to fill these up. And then we just have our skewer right here. That way we basically have an indirect heat source, and it's not going to burn the chicken really easily. Now we put everything back. There's our grill grate. And what's kind of cool about this, if you need to top off your coals, we shouldn't have to do that in this one, but this is another one of the premium products that come with the Weber, the premium Webers. This is your wings right here, so you can actually access that. And so if you need to top off your coals, you can easily top off your coals. It's really nice. All right, let's get our chimney going of our coals, get that all up to temperature, and then we're gonna go through and inject our chicken, put it on the skewer, and get this ready to go. And I pointed this out before. I don't like to mess around, so I use 2 of these little fire starter biomass cubes. These things work really good. I put 2 underneath my chimney, just like that, kind of stagger them a little bit. Then I light those. And then I also like to get this thing to temperature as quick as possible. So I like to use these tumbleweeds. And these ones are by Royal Oak. There's a lot of different manufacturers out there, but I really like these ones. And so I just go ahead and throw one of these in the bottom as well, just to get this nice and hot really quick. All right, we're just gonna do a full chimney, so we're gonna go all the way. That's good. All right, now let's light it. Nothing fancy for that. There we go. Normally it takes about 15 to 20 minutes for your chimney stack to come to temperature. And so how you know it's come to temperature, really it's when the smoke stops. You're just gonna get a little bit of smoke when it's fully lit into temperature. And you're gonna see a lot of the coals all ashed over and turning nice and white. All right, so we've got our chicken right here. It's been marinating for just a little over 24 hours right now. I'm gonna go ahead and put on some vinyl disposable gloves. I just like to do this because it's just nice and easy to clean up while I'm doing this. You can get these just about anywhere, so just nice to have them in your little barbecue kit. So we're gonna take it out of this right now. Yeah, all right, there's our bird. Okay, awesome. He's looking pretty good. Okay, let's get our injection together. So this is just a real cheap, real simple injector, nothing fancy here. All right, then also what I do in order to fill that up, we take our injection, which is just our freshly squeezed lime and orange juice, navel orange, We're gonna fill it up. Okay. And then that's just like a double shot glass, so it's about 2 ounces. And then we're just gonna fill it up as best as we can. And we're gonna stick it in a bird and just do a couple little injections in a few different areas. This bad boy over. There we go. Look at all that juice coming out of there. Love that marinade. I'm really interested to see how well that does. There you go. Doesn't take a whole lot to fill up that breast area. You can see it kind of swell up. Let's see if I can just do it like this. We don't really need to. I mean, I'll try the legs right now. Let's see what I can get in the legs. See if at all possible. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can get a little bit in there. Let's get a little bit in there. This is what I call flavor stacking. All right, that's looking pretty good. I think we're good with that. Now we're gonna get it on the skewer. All right, so I've already done this. So this back piece is already set. You just unscrew that little wing nut. This comes off, and then what I like to do is just insert it through the back cavity and out through the neck area. And I just try to grab it with the long stakes, kind of like that. Jam it up on there. And I bring this piece on. Slide it down and then just kind of jam it on in there just like this. Okay, now what I also like to do, normally what I do is I have like a twine that I tie these wings to, but I don't have that today. So what I have instead is a bunch of toothpicks, and these work too. But you just try to pin the legs in there. I don't normally eat. I mean, not the legs, the wings. I don't normally eat the wings, especially those little pieces. So just try and get in a fleshy area where you can just kind of pin them back to the breast, because you don't necessarily want these wings flapping around once it gets all tender and everything, and scraping up against the bottom grill or anything. So it's good to pin these, or tie them, like I said, tie them. So we'll just do that. Make sure we get those really good with a few different areas, because they do come out sometime. So just put a few in. And that should be good enough. Okay, so now our bird is ready and our coals are looking great. So let's go ahead and put our coals on now. As you can see, look at that. There's no more smoke. There's just like a really hot flame coming off of the top of that chimney. So those are ready to go in. All right, so every time I'm dealing with coal, I like to play it really safe. I have these very affordable welder gloves. Anything will work. Safety first, but this charcoal is hot. So we're just gonna take the chimney and we're going to put half on one side as best as we can. We have tongs to mess around with it. Put the other half on the other side as best we can. Just kind of get them in there. Fill it up. All right, and then you don't have to be real accurate if you have tongs, so you can just kind of throw them in there and use your tongs. We can kind of fine tune that and place them exactly where we want. Any little escapers, stack them where we need to. And the other really great thing about having these baskets like this is it really concentrates the heat in these areas, and it prevents some coals from burning out really quick too. It's pretty impressive what it does. So that's that. Let's put the grill grate back on with our flaps open, just like that. We can go ahead and put our chunks of wood. This is our cherry chunks of wood in there. It's a really pretty looking cherry wood. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna close that flap. I'm gonna stick it right on top. I'm gonna do the same thing on this one over here. Get that piece, stick it right there. That should do it. Now we're gonna put our rotisserie ring on. We have the motor towards the back. We're all lined up. Make sure it's nice and flush on there. We're gonna attach our motor to it. It just slides on, just like that. All right, and now we're ready to put the bird on. Let me take my gloves off. And here comes Mr. Bird, just like this. You want to put the pointy side into the motor first. It's square. And then you just want to sit this bad boy down just like that. And we'll turn the motor on. Flip the switch. There we go. And we are cooking. And before any cook, just for good luck, you always have to double click. All right, so let's put our hood back on. Just like this. We're gonna have our top vent. We're gonna put it all the way open. I like to get this really hot. And then let me show you what the bottom vent looks like. So top vent, there it is right there, fully open. Let's go to the bottom vent. All right, bottom vent right there. It's at halfway right now. I'm actually gonna put it to fully open. I want this thing to be cranking. So there it is, and I've pre-marked these before. I have that in another video on how to do that the right way, and it's crucial that you do that. There's the motor, little on-off switch right there. It's spinning. Just take a quick look at that bird real quick. Oh, look at that, that wood's already doing its thing. All right, let's close it back up and get this thing cooking. There we go. All right, everybody, we're gonna come back in about an hour. Oh yeah, I really enjoy going to spin class. All right, well, I'm gonna give it to you real, and probably a lot of creators wouldn't do this, but I messed up. I totally messed up. I should have let everything come to temperature and taken my time and established the temperature zone I wanted it to be in before I actually put my meat on there. And I didn't do that. I rushed it. And because I rushed it, I got really hot temperatures. I went back inside once I set it, and it really got hot. I came back out here at about 45 minutes, and it's kind of charred a little too much to my liking, but the internal temperature was still at about 120 degrees. So let's check it out real quick. All right, so here we are, 51 minutes into it, as you can see over there. Let's pop this lid off. And I tell you what, that, my friends, is a really charred piece of chicken. Like, there's no doubt about it. I let it get too hot, and I didn't monitor my temperature, and I just paid the price for that. Will it be good still? Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be fine. My family really just likes the breast meat, and you know what? Those legs, they still look pretty yummy to me. Our internal temperature is still not where it needs to be, so what I've done is I went through and I closed my bottom vent to halfway. I'll show you that right now. So my halfway mark, it's sitting right there, and that's where it's at. And then my top vent, I closed all the way to 1/4 of the way open so I can get some lower temperatures, because that is honestly a little too hot. But you know what? You live and learn. Top vent, about 1/4 of the way open. So am I bummed about this? Yeah, absolutely. Because I really wanted to show you guys how awesome this was going to be. But I rushed it. And that's a lesson that I just wanted to share with you. It's really hard to rush a lot of these cooks. And if you do it, you got to be really on your game and make sure you're doing every little step the right way. So we're going to see how this turns out. And once this gets the temperature, then we're going to cut into it and see if this thing is edible. I hope it is. And if not, Well, you know what? I'm going to do this again, but let's check it out. All right, so we're 54 minutes into the cook, and we just put the lid back on it after we came to discover that we have a little too much char for our personal liking on there, but that's okay. You learn from everything, and barbecuing and outdoor cooking is it's an experience, it's an adventure, and hopefully you learn from it. But hey, we'll come back in 15 minutes and probe the internal to see what we're at. Hopefully we're around that 170 area. All right, everybody, just about an hour and 15 minutes into it. This chicken is one charred bird. That's the underside where all the dark meat's at. We're gonna let it spin around to the top side where it's supposed to be white meat, but it's pretty crispy there. Okay, stop the motor. Let's probe the inside. 167, 168. Okay, it's good to pull it. We're gonna pull it now. All right, let's pull this bird. Hour and 15 minutes into it. I'm not gonna lie. That's one charred bird right there. Put my gloves on real quick. So I'm using these white cotton gloves with these 6mm double XL blue nitrate gloves. And what the cotton gloves do is allows me to handle the hot stuff without burning my hands, so we can move kind of quick on this. I'm going to start pulling some of the toothpicks, whatever I can kind of visually see. I tell you what, when I said spin class, I don't know if you heard me say spin class earlier, I learned some stuff today, and that's at least a good thing that I learned. But I really overdid that bad boy. That poor bird. But you know what? Even though that's pretty charred, I bet you the inside's going to be just nice and tasty. And these legs are going to be okay too. Is it pretty? Not at all. Let's cut into it and give it a shot and see how it tastes. All right, so you're probably just as interested as I am to see what this looks like. Tell you what, yeah, it's charred. There's no doubt about it. But that's really just on the outside there. Wow. That bird actually looks pretty good. All right, let's see how this tastes. All right, so that cook took an hour and 15 minutes, and I really messed it up. But I feel it's just a visual exterior thing. When I cut into it, everything was still moist, and I mean it looks really flavorful. So I'm gonna take a piece of white meat that was right along the edge, doesn't have the skin because it got charred a little bit, and we're gonna check it out. I'll tell you what, it might have been charred on the outside, but it did not get under the skin. Like, it did not dry out the meat under the skin. And that is super tasty. Wow. I can really taste the citrus in it from, like, I have another piece. This is closer to the inner part of the carcass. Wow. I can taste the orange from that freshly squeezed orange in there. That tastes so good. Oh my gosh. All right, excuse me. Now here is one of the drumsticks. I'm going to get close on that one. Now, yeah, the skin is charred. But I tell you what, that meat doesn't look too bad. Let's try it out. Oh my God. Wow. That's delicious.
That is so good. Whoa, I tell you what, this bird, excuse me, this bird didn't look pretty, but it is packed full of flavor. This is really, really tasty. Hold on, I gotta take another bite. Proof there, looks can be deceiving. Well, okay, so it came out really tasty. Everything's good on it. The inside of the bird, the outside of the bird, minus the skin, on the white meat and the dark meat, perfect, delicious, super moist, not a problem. Hour and 15 minutes. This thing was cranking it like, had it been close to 600. It was over well over 500 degrees there when I first saw it, and I'm like, oh no. So, you know, lesson learned there, you know. When you get everything set, you really need to get it to the temperature that you want to put your meat on, and then you want to be able to sustain that before you put your meat on. I just didn't have the time to do that. And hey, I learned a lesson there, okay? The next time, I'm going to do this again, because now the next video I do on this, I'm going to do it this week. I want to make it look pretty. But I tell you what, this still worked out great. The marinade worked out awesome. The injection worked out great. I'm going to do exactly the same thing next time. I'm just going to try and do it maybe a little bit lower and slower and see if it tastes even different at that point. Do me a favor, if you got any value out of this content, like and subscribe to the channel. It helps me produce more value content for you like this in the future. And until next time, live a life of flavor.